Listen, do, start.
Good evening! Welcome to Tweed Up, where we take video games, music, movies, and more way too seriously. I'm Neil, this is Zac, and today we're talking about our top 10 video games of 2023.
Woo-hoo!
It's that time of year.
Yeah, the holidays. Happy holidays, Neil.
Happy holidays, Zac. So lots of people do these lists, and obviously we have not played every video game that comes out. In fact, I find myself less and less able to play as many games as I want to, but I feel like I've played a good assortment of games that came out in 2023. My problem is I've been playing like too many 3DO games and stuff, you know what I mean?
I hear that, for real.
But so these are games that, you know, both Zac and I, we've each chosen 5 games, and these are the games that that stood out to us and we really enjoyed playing. So obviously, you know, this is our opinion. You know, everyone starts their list video like saying, "This is just my opinion." Like, there's lots of games that either we haven't played or games that are not on our list for some reason. You know, like.
It's not personal.
So it is Diablo 4.
Oh yeah, that's
personal.
Yeah, it's personal. I agree.
First of all, like you not only, so I have to have on PlayStation 5, I have to have a PlayStation Network account, you know, and I have to have a BattleNet account.
Of course.
And then to play local co-op, my wife has to also have a PlayStation Network account, not just like not just an ID.
No,
she has to just
make the
account, put in her email address and stuff like that. And like for local co-op,
who does that?
I mean, come on,
who does that?
That is why Diablo is not on our list.
Take that. Acronym.
Otherwise, it probably would be, but.
Not mine.
Anyway, starting off at number 10.
Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Woo!
Nice. I
love the Yakuza series. My fondness for the series is probably part of this, but again, our favorites. Made by Ryuga Gotoku, I'm hoping pronouncing that correct, studio, and published by Sega. It's the latest edition in the Yakuza universe. Brings back Kiryu Kiryu, the hero, but he doesn't go by that because he's the man that erased his name. So watch out for that.
It's taking place after Yakuza 6, the Song of Life, right?
Yes, sir. Brings you back into Kamurocho, which is, you know, your off-brand Shibuya district. Man, I love wandering the streets of Kamurocho and going in every shop. Like, if Sega can do it with Yakuza, which, you know, they spend money on it, but it's not their biggest game.
It's getting big. I feel like they're putting a lot more emphasis on that series recently.
I hope so, because it's rad, and people play it. And I think in some ways, that city is better than New York in the Spider-Man games. Yeah. Because
in the Spider-Man
it's more of a living city.
You can
go in
through
things.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, I thought that was going to be controversial. This guy was going to sock me. That's cool.
I think Sega is really supporting Like a Dragon now.
Really?
There was a game. Yeah.
Well, you know more than I do.
Well, I mean, last year you had.
You're talking about how many they released.
Yeah. I mean, last year you had the RPG one, right? Which did really well. Mm-hmm. You know, there was a lot of. Publicity for it. They were.
That was the first Like a Dragon, right?
Yeah. But that's the only one that's like the RPG, right? You know, like the turn-based RPG,
right. Which is rad.
And they've had 2 games this year, right? The Ishin and Gaiden, and they have the one. There's one coming out next year. So I mean, they're supporting the franchise.
I'm sorry, Sega. I didn't mean to get on your case. Okay.
Actually, I feel like it's like their.
It is nice having lots of them out there.
It's sort of like their main franchise. I feel like now, in some ways, you know.
I feel suitably dressed down and apologize for spreading misinformation. But I'm going to tell you that I love the mini games. Like, how many mini games are in this game? Like, you can spend an hour playing freaking golf, you know, at the driving range or the batting cage. Or,
man.
You know, every kind of card game you want to play. Like, you know, it's just ways to waste my time. It's wonderful.
Play some Space Harrier. Space Harrier never gets old. Man.
Exactly. The arcades are fantastic. Playing claw games it's fun, and you know, it's got a cool story. It's very serious but silly. You know, it's very over the top, and it's got these great side characters that Kiryu interacts with and deals with plots, twists, and turns. I love it, man, and I'll play every Yakuza game that comes out, which is apparently way more than I'm giving credit.
I know, like I would love to play everyone if I had the time. You know what I mean? But they are great. It's a great series.
Rock and roll, man. What's at number 9?
Number 9, Forza Motorsport.
Woo!
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to drive.
For me, like every video game system, somewhat early in its life cycle needs 2 types of games. It needs an amazing driving game.
Yep.
And it needs an amazing fighting game.
I'm back that 100%.
Like, those are like the core of just video gaming.
PlayStation had Tekken and Ridge Racer or whatever it was at launch.
And then Gran Turismo.
And Gran Turismo, of course. Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of like hardcore gamers don't play racing games anymore for some reason. But like I've always been a racing game fan, since Atari till now,
Oh yeah, dude.
I think
we used to play Outrun, I think.
Yeah. So Forza Motorsport came out October 10th, 2023. It's the 8th game in the Forza series from Turn 10 Studios. I am a big fan of Gran Turismo. I like Gran Turismo 7 quite a bit. I've played a ton of it. And I may still like that better than Forza, but I think a lot of people like the Forza Horizon games better. I prefer the motorsport games. I like the simulation games.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of what they're doing with this one, as this is going to be, they've sort of done this before where this is going to be a continuing product. It's sort of what Gran Turismo did with GT Sport. But unlike GT Sport, this game is launching with full content, what I mean, like 500 plus cars, 20 plus real world tracks.
Get my 1995 Saturn out there, baby. Woo.
Yeah, no, like what's so addictive in Forza Motorsport, this new one, is the RPG systems. They have you earn car points, and like they do it where there'll be a section of curves, and there'll be a start point and an end point where you'll take like 1 or 2 curves, and every time you drive a car like through that point, it's measuring against your previous times through that point. And so if you're doing better than you did previously, you're earning car points, which is really cool because like...
Wow, rewards for incremental progress, imagine that.
Well, it's also cool because like if you're in first place and you're on like lap 3 of 5 laps, it gives you a reason to like, try and drive your best, which I think it's a really welcome addition to the series and makes me want to keep playing,
I'm surprised you didn't gush more about the graphics.
The graphics are, the Forza series has always had top-notch graphics, and it's all of the 4Ks and numbers that you want to throw out there. It's got ray tracing and all that stuff.
Ray tracing.
It looks amazing. It's definitely a showpiece, which it always has been. But I've just been playing a ton of it, and that's why it's on my top 10.
Is it better than Need for Speed Underground? Let us know if you think it's better than Need for... I know, I put you in a tough spot.
It's hard, man.
I put you in a tough spot. Think about it while I talk about number 8, which, again, our list, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Woo!
Yeah!
We're all very excited for Legend of Zelda, and it is number 8 on our list, and we like it very much, and it's a great game. And
why do you seem so sad?
Because, Neil, not every game has to be resource gathering, engineering, like...
But you're talking about why it's on our top 10.
I know, and I'm just like, I know I'm supposed to be really enthusiastic and optimistic in selling this to you guys, and it's Zelda. Go buy it. If you haven't played, go buy it. But, man, this should have been like top 3, and you know it. Like, this is a Legend of Zelda game. I loved Breath of the Wild. And this is Breath of the Wild, but you don't have to play it, really. You can do this other thing, and... Anyway, it's number 8 because it is made by Nintendo. It's a proprietary Zelda title, so you know that they put their muscle behind it, that it's their flagship. It's my number 3 favorite Legend of Zelda game that's on the Switch.
There you go.
Yeah, on the Switch.
But
hey, It's Breath of the Wild with engineering, and that's great. It allows infinite replayability. Like, you can play this game forever, and that's not just hunting down the Koroks. You can play this game forever. You can make anything you want.
I know. I have played this game forever, and like, what's amazing?
As long as it uses less than 30 pieces or whatever.
I have to say, what's amazing about this game is that it is like, it's huge, and there's like no loading.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes,
Like,
it is
you
great.
go from the sky, island
Skydiving.
to the,
Boom. It's all
the
instant.
overworld
Yep.
to the underworld.
Yep.
No loading, and like, there's very few. Like, even like the dungeons are part of the world.
All
the
three
only
dungeons are
things
part of
that-
the world.
I think
It's amazing.
I might be wrong about this, but I think the only things that are like separate are the shrines.
I think you're right.
Because like, there is a loading into
screen.
and out of shrines. But besides that, I feel like it's amazing that you can go into those
It is.
the sky towers and launch you up,
Heck
and
yeah.
then you fly.
The verticality of this game may have the best verticality of any game short of Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah,
and yeah, there's no load times.
Yeah.
Like, and when you're falling from the sky, you can see the ground in really low resolution below you, like you would, And there's some clouds that help obscure the fact that this is not really a HD system.
But that's what's
it's
amazing
great,
about
and it has
it,
amazing graphics.
Yeah.
And my notes actually say Tears of the Kingdom has the same graphics as Breath of the Wild, and that's a compliment.
It is. It's
The
great
Zelda
game,
aesthetic
yeah.
looks beautiful. They get the colors right, the vibe right. Everything is perfect and wonderful and beautiful. But it came out in the same time frame as Elden Ring, and I just can't help but compare. But hey, the music score.
Music's good.
Koji Kondo has done a tremendous job again. Great music. They have changed up, taken some of the Breath of the Wild stuff, transformed it. Original compositions, they're fantastic, just like you'd expect in any Legend of Zelda game, which has always had legendary music. I will say that they don't need to stop the ambient local dungeon music when there's enemies around. I know there's an enemy there. I don't need you to play that little ding 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 ding. I know. Anyway, number 8 game, because it is a tremendous game. Like, it's worth every bit of the $60 or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
This might be your favorite game. Like, this might be your favorite game of the year, especially if you're into not having to do Zelda combat because you just build a rotating tank with laser beams, and so you don't fight.
But I will say, like, on the combat, this is one of the hardest Zelda games.
Sure, they throw in massive, like, glee horns or whatever they're called. And,
Like, the
Lionel will kill me every time.
Like, the end game is super challenging. Like, if you don't upgrade your armor, and if you don't buy... Here's another complaint about it, though.
Oh no!
Like,
this is why we didn't actually release a review of this, because we tried and we made too many complaints.
But
Go.
you have your health bar, right? Your hearts.
Yes, the hearts.
And then you have, like, the dark
Can't
damage.
max out all 3. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
You have the dark damage that takes away your hearts, sort of
Locks 'em out,
permanently,
yeah.
locks them out. But, like, you can get a resource that replenishes the dark damage.
There
So
you go.
essentially, all you're doing is
There
giving
you go.
me
You're mildly inconveniencing me. Give me a
2
side
health
quest.
bars
Yeah.
that I have to manage.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, man. Like, if you're gonna do the dark damage, don't give
Just-
me something that can heal it.
Yeah, make it
Like,
permanent until I go back
Yeah.
to one central thing that's really inconvenient.
Yeah, because then you're just giving me more to manage for no reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I do
hey,
like the game.
It's a great game. The storyline is also good.
It is.
The
I would
backstory of
say
Zelda.
an improvement over
It is
Breath
an
of the
improvement
Wild.
over Breath of the Wild, which
Yeah.
really didn't have much.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
it's
think
the right emotional notes.
Some of the best. I think some of the best things are the tears.
Yes.
Like in the cutscenes
Yes,
that
we
you
don't wanna
get
spoil
when
it
you
just in
watch,
case, but-
when you find the tears.
Yes, that part
Yeah.
will really get your emotions. It's pure Zelda. It's fantastic. And by the time you fight Ganondorf, you're pretty ready to give him a pretty satisfying whooping. Sorry for the spoilers there. Solid number 8. Neil, why don't you tell us about number 7 before we start shitting on number 8 some more?
All right, you can't say that on YouTube, can
I'll
you?
bleep it.
All right, number 7, I have Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out.
Is that on your list?
Came out June 25th, 2023 from Tango Gameworks, creators of Evil Within and Evil Within 2 and the underrated but awesome Ghostwire Tokyo.
Evil Within
I know it
scared
didn't
me
get
so
great
bad.
reviews, but It's good. Try
My
it.
wife played Ghostwire Tokyo.
good.
She beat it. She
Yeah.
really liked it. Great looking.
This is it's completely different than all of their other games. It's a third-person action adventure that relies heavily on a rhythm mechanic.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of super cool music in it.
Woo!
It has, I think, possibly the best like implementation of like a Saturday morning cartoon art style. It looks like a Saturday morning cartoon in the cutscenes, like when you start playing the game.
Yep.
Like when you start watching the game, it's a cutscene, and then you start playing it, and it's like, oh, it still
the same
looks
thing.
like a Saturday. I mean,
It's a really good use of the tech. I mean,
yeah, I would say like Ratchet and Clank has that
Yeah.
to a certain extent, but
Yeah.
is more like a Pixar look,
Yes.
you know, whereas Hi-Fi
This is
Rush
like Saturday morning
is like a
cartoon.
Saturday morning cartoon, and it's so beautiful. And the rhythm mechanic is implemented so well. Like even if you have no rhythm whatsoever, you can still play the game and succeed. But if you have rhythm and you enjoy the challenge of it, it gives you lots of ways to mess and like improvise. You're like improvising with an instrument that is the controller, like to cool music while you're playing this really cool platforming game.
I wonder why the
you know?
drummer loves it so much.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you have The Perfect Drug from Nine Inch Nails on there. You have Free Radicals
good. Oh, yeah,
from
dude.
Flaming Lips.
Yeah, man.
You have Fiona Apple, Fast As You Can.
Fantastic.
You have Zwan on there. There's all
Hell
kinds
yeah.
of really cool rock. Black Keys are on there. And like the boss battles are super fun. I was just 100% engaged with this game, never bored, start to finish, you know? And like, there's not very many games that I can say that about. So
Heck
that's
yeah.
why I
No.
have it at
Really solid number 7.
Yeah.
Good for Tango.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really big step for them. Rock and roll. Number 6, Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
It's based on this little series called Harry Potter. Some people have probably heard it. We're probably going to get a copyright strike for saying those words. But created by Portkey Games and published by Warner Brothers Entertainment, the highly anticipated and controversial action RPG is set in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. It's maybe prequel's the wrong term, but it takes place in the 1800s, well before the Harry Potter series. I called this game kind of a Destiny with wands, and I mean that as mostly praise. My wife and I really like the Harry Potter, world. Not the author. Leave me alone. And so, that probably plays into it a bit. But the exploration, the realization of this world that we've seen, it's everything that they promised to a degree. I mean, with
It's
exception.
highly detailed.
Yeah,
I think
dude.
it's as far as like environmental detail, it's right up there with like From Software stuff and like
Big time.
Metro Exodus, which I think is one of the more highly detailed games out there. But
I'm the name of the castle, the Hogwarts, yeah, Hogwarts Legacy.
Name of the
What's the name of the place?
What's that castle?
Yeah, what's
called
that
then?
castle called? No, it's a trip, man. How much
Yeah.
you can explore that and the grounds and like the whole world. Like, well, not the whole world, like England, like really. And there's something in every corner. They're not, they're not stale. Like the little side quests and everything, there's a lot of neat things going on. They did axe the morality system, which I was kind of looking forward to. There's mods for it apparently if you're playing on PC. But
Don't do Dark Arts.
yeah, just don't do that.
It makes the game from
Makes
what
the
I've
game a
heard,
lot
it makes
harder.
Really? I heard
Yeah.
it makes the games easier.
Oh,
'cause those
dude.
are like the strongest curses in the game, right?
Yeah, using the dark arts makes it really easy.
Oh, that's what I was
yeah,
saying. Yes.
if you want to breeze through the
I have
game
not
really
used
easily.
any of the Dark Arts.
Avada
know you
Kedavra is like, I'm just moving on.
What's weird is like your Petrificus Totalis is essentially, I mean, I know you're not killing enemies, but
Right.
you're, essentially you are, right?
Yeah, they're
what
totally petrified.
I was really surprised by how well the stealth actually
Yeah,
works in
yeah.
this game. Like you can play it as a stealth game, you know? You're like kind of taking out like outposts. It's like Far Cry or something, or Assassin's Creed. And you can sneak up and do stealth kills on people,
Yeah, really well made stealth. I also was really pleased with the traversal, like your broom riding. Like,
Oh, yeah.
basically there is a fast travel, but like there's no real reason to use it because the broom will get you around and like see all kinds of fun stuff, and there's things happening, and like just pop down and start a little side quest thing. Really detailed character creation, talking about Elden Ring type of stuff. It's all cosmetic, but you can make your character look like whatever you want.
I love that all of the clothing and stuff is like there's so much detail in it, and like you can
make yourself look whatever.
And you can like if you get something that has like better stats, you can transmog, right?
Yep.
Transmog is available at the beginning of the game for anything that you want, which is really cool.
It is.
So you can make yourself look whatever you want, however you want.
You don't have to worry about putting on some wonky hat.
You could appear like you're not wearing, you're just wearing the same thing you start the game with, but you're actually wearing like epic gear. You know, it's that's available right from the start,
which is nice. Not having to earn it. Tremendous game. Neil, tell us what's number 5.
Number 5 is Remnant 2.
Heck, yeah.
Came out July 25th, 2023 from Gunfire Games.
Perfect summer break game.
Yeah, I got to talk a little bit about Gunfire. So Gunfire Games is founded by David Adams, who also founded a studio called Vigil Games, which made...
I don't know.
Darksiders.
Oh, dude, I love that game.
Yeah,
that was
they
fun.
also made Darksiders too.
Yeah.
And then
we played Darksiders like crazy.
In part,
fun.
like when THQ went bankrupt, right?
Yep.
Vigil was underneath THQ. Oh, okay. So then that studio, the people from that studio became part of Crytek. Part of Crytek for a little bit. And then made Gunfire Games. And Gunfire has made Darksiders 3 and Darksiders Genesis.
Oh.
And then they have Remnant.
Have you played those?
Huh?
Did you play those?
I played all the Darksiders games, and I love the Darksiders games.
You are married. Anyway.
And then that's where I'm going. Then they had Remnant from the Ashes, which is awesome. There's also a game called Chronos Before the Ashes, which is like, this is a game that not many people know about this game.
Never heard of it.
But it's really cool. It's like set in the same universe as the Remnant games, but it's more of a Souls-like.
Ooh.
But it's like an easier kind of Souls-like, and it has an aging mechanic similar to...
Like Fable?
More like Sifu.
Oh, okay.
Like when you die, you age, and like when you're younger, your strength is higher and stuff. When you get older, your strength will be lower, but like your magic
your wisdom and stuff is higher.
You know?
That's cool.
Underrated game. No one talks about it.
Yeah, coming in at number 5, No, wait.
But anyway, Remnant 2.
Remnant 2.
So I've been a fan of their... I feel like Vigil and now Gunfire have had this... they want to mix, this swords and sorcery kind of stuff with guns and post-apocalyptic scenarios. That's kind of Darksiders, starts in the apocalypse. You know what I mean? And Remnant,
the 4 Horsemen.
Remnant is an apocalyptic game. What's cool about Remnant, if you're not familiar with what Remnant, the first one, and Remnant 2, it's basically Dark Souls with guns. I mean, that's what everyone calls it. And that's an accurate description. But what's cool about the way they approach it is like, so the beginning of the game, you feel like you're in a Last of Us / Fallout kind of world, right? Yep. But very, very quickly, you're going to other worlds that could be like sort of high fantasy based, or like sci-fi, or sci-fi horror, and there's a lot of different, like, I love video games for back in the day, like a long time ago, like a main reason to play a video game was like to see the next level. And like back in the day, it was like, oh, the background is blue in this level?
Yeah.
You got to the blue level? I've seen the red level before, but I've never seen the blue level before.
My gosh, level 6.
But that was like the motivation to like see the new levels. And like obviously, when you got into NES and you had like Mario, and like Ghosts and Goblins does a really good job of like the motivation to get through the challenge in a Ghosts and Goblins game is to see like the next level, you know? I gotta get to the ice level, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And Remnant 2 does an amazing, like I wanted to get through every world to see the next
What's gonna be next?
You know what I mean? And what's cool about it, generally, I would say I'm not, when someone tells me that a game is procedurally generated, you know, like, I'm like, I don't know. But like literally almost the entire game is procedurally generated. Like after the first part, like wherever you go next is going to be different than the next person, you know, someone else who plays it. And even if you went to the same like world, that world's layout and the location of the quest givers and stuff is going to be completely different.
Right. Make a walkthrough for that.
Which sounds like it would not work out, but like the graphics are awesome. Like I would say this is like they're not a AAA studio, but I feel like they're
above their weight.
I feel like they've always operated as if they were a AAA studio, like from Darksiders until today. I'm talking about Remnant way too long. It's fun to play too. The gunplay is really fun. The different builds are all like useful. All of them have a purpose. There is also a multiplayer component to it, but you can play the whole game single player, and you should. If you liked Darksiders,
do it.
And you haven't been paying attention, play Remnant 2, and they need to make a Darksiders. They need to make a Darksiders 4, you know, an official Darksiders 4. So.
I hope that you and your wife enjoy Darksiders 4 when it eventually comes out, since I won't get to play it with you. Speaking of post-apocalyptic wastelands, coming in at number 4, Super Mario Brothers Wonder! Woo! Yeah, obviously not, but delightful masterpiece.
I didn't hold
Is that
this
even
up
around?
there,
No, you didn't. What is that even doing out?
I know, it's still in the wrapping because it's for my daughter for Christmas.
Yeah. So I'll be covering most of this one. I'm sure Neil knows just as much about it as I do, but changing pace from the Mushroom Kingdom, we're in the Petal Isles. These days, and man, the Petal Isles.
The Petal Isles?
Petal Isles, yeah. Careful how you say that one, right? This place is psychedelic and wild, man. Like, you'd think that the Mushroom Kingdom would be a little bit crazy, but yeah, dog. Like, stuff goes nuts in the Petal Isles. I'm sure that most people that are watching this video have seen trailers of the world going crazy upon grabbing this wonder flower, which, man, they do change the entire level. Like, it is this bonanza. Like, a jaded gamer. It is a bonanza. It is a bonanza, boy. I mean, I
love
can't.
it.
Seriously, like.
Henceforth, all bananas.
All bananas will be bonanzas.
All bananas are now bonanza.
And Tweed Up, land. They are, but it's a bonanza, man. I'm putting shots on screen right now. Like, the whole screen goes nuts. Your heart starts racing. Things get exciting. There's a time limit, you know, like you got a goal. Like, it gets crazy and fun. And like, this is a really beautiful game. I know I was just speaking rudely of our friends at Legend of Zelda, but man, the Switch and Legend of Zelda is beautiful. But Super Mario looks so good, and like the colors are so vibrant, and Mario's never looked better. You know, nice 2D. I like my 2D Marios. I like 3Ds too, but the 2Ds will always have my heart. You get new power-ups: Elephant Mario, Bubble Mario, Drill Mario, which really like adds to some replayability. Like, levels can have, you know, different hidden items, and you can go through them and get them. Or, you know, if you want to buy it for your child, they can play as Yoshi, and they're invincible except for falling, and getting lives is
That's what
easy.
my daughter will do.
Rock and roll. And I hope that you will play the game with her.
100%.
Multiplayer, yeah. That is. My wife's gonna be really bitter with me because I didn't play multiplayer with her. But it is one of the coolest features of the game. You know, I know that the new Super Mario Brothers Wii Bubbles thing, that was kind of frustrating. People didn't like it. It's a better system nowadays. Get into it. Co-op, couch co-op will, you know, if your game has couch co-op and bonanzas, I'm going to be into it. tons and tons of
I'm
levels.
pretty sure, I haven't played it yet, but I'm pretty sure that Nintendo's not going to make my daughter make like an online account and be able to play local co-op with me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm guessing that that's how it's going to operate.
Hopefully, yeah. Please enter your email address so you can play our video game. Koji Kondo coming through with the music on this one, and this is really great. Like, you know, it's got the Mario vibe, but every bit of soundtrack in this is perfectly placed for your snow levels, your desert levels, grasslands, and all that, the things that you're expecting. Plus a lot of new surprises, like cool stuff. The pedal isles are different. Man, that word freaks me out every time.
Pedal isles.
You can play as just about any character you want, and the characters do have different abilities, sort of like Super Mario Brothers 2. Princess is a little bit floaty. Toad's fast, you know. Really helps the couch co-op be more fun because you have different abilities and specialties.
You can play as Nabbit, right?
Yeah.
I think my daughter wants to play as Nabbit for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Kids these days.
I know.
You know? I don't like it when people play as Toad.
Why?
If I'm being honest. I don't like Toad.
Really?
Yeah, I really
Like
don't.
you've never liked Toad?
Not really. I mean,
is Toad a character, really?
he's like a vendor.
There's like a million of them. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Do they matter? Like, I didn't see the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Oh, you should. It's pretty
Do
cool.
they have personalities? Or
Well-
are they all Toad?
It's weird because there is like a Toad.
Okay.
But then there's a whole bunch of other Toads, but they're different. They do have personalities. It's like a Pikachu, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's like a Pikachu.
Okay. Well,
Right?
yes.
Right?
Is that right?
A Toad is like a Pikachu.
Ooh, boy, that could get it like the most hate we ever have. But yeah, wonderful game. Whatever age you are, you can enjoy bright colors and beauty and fun. It's just fun. Like, play video games for fun sometimes. And if you want to play a video game for fun, you do a lot worse than Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Again, especially if you have someone to play with. What's up next, buddy?
We're up to number 3.
3.
And number 3, we have Sea of Stars.
Woo!
This came out August 29th of 2023 from Sabotage Studio, whose previous game, The Messenger, was amazing.
That was a great game.
Yeah. And this is in the same universe, but it is a turn-based RPG, definitely inspired by like the Super Nintendo era
my jam.
of 16-bit turn-based RPGs.
Heck yeah.
And I know that there are a million indie, you know,
About to ask you some hard
RPGs based on that era. You know, you have
because they're amazing.
yeah, but
Like,
I mean, you have Octopath Traveler, Octopath Traveler 2. There's a ton of
tell
them.
me you don't get
know?
down with some pixel art.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah,
games.
what are you talking about?
I think Sea of Stars is the best.
Oh my
I think it's better than Octopath Traveler or Octopath Traveler 2. It's the best of like the newer, like
I could see that.
retro-inspired, 16-bit inspired RPGs for a
Octopath
lot of
Traveler was
reasons.
pretty dope, but
Yeah, I love Octopath Traveler and Octopath Traveler 2. But this game, like, its narrative is gripping from beginning to end, and it's not like it starts out you think it's going to be a kind of tropey typical fantasy
16-bit
RPG.
fantasy
and
RPG.
like it does not take very long for things to get a little weird and a little interesting.
we like the little weird.
And then it's like a huge. It reminds me of Phantasy Star in some
Dude,
ways, you know,
Phantasy
because
Star,
like
yes.
you're very quickly. It's a big, you know,
Oh, yeah.
galaxy spanning adventure. You know what I mean?
Apt comparison.
And it's really awesome. I'm going to talk about the combat system really quick because like this is why I think there are lots of reasons. The music's fantastic. The way the game looks, I know it's retro inspired, but
Oh, that's the newer 16-bit.
it looks amazing.
They look really
And like I think I might like this better than the 2D HD look that Square Enix has been doing with its stuff. And I love those games as well. Like, you know, but this game, let me talk about the combat system.
Tell us about the combat system.
You know, when you're doing regular attacks, okay? Regular attacks build your MP. So like just your standard attack will build your MP. It also builds a combo meter, which you can then, as your combo meter fills, you can use it to do like bigger attacks, you know, with other characters. It also, when you do a standard attack on an enemy, these little like orbs fly out of them and they're like laying on the ground, and then you can with any of your characters, you can hold down the right trigger and it will suck in those
Onimusha
orbs.
style?
Yeah, and that will give, it essentially adds your magic attack like percentage like to your standard attack.
That
you know
sounds
what I mean?
complex, but still simple.
Oh, it's not complex. It's really easy to understand. What happens is like you can go through a really long dungeon and you're never like out of like MP because
Nice.
you can and it's not like to say it's easy, because there are times when you're going to be low on MP in
a
battle,
fight.
you know? And even outside of battle, because I mean, there's a really deep cooking system in the game, you know, to
Which
like,
is awesome.
to like get MP and HP and stuff back. But like those elements, it gives you a reason to do your standard attacks. You know what I mean? And you're choosing. There's a lot of strategy in when to use a standard attack and when to suck in like those orbs that are laying around,
Keep
and
your
when
combo
to do
moving
a
up.
combo attack. And it makes even like simple fights engaging. And like that's really the only thing that an RPG really needs
all you need to do.
It also has the thing like where when you
Remember how much fun limit breaks were, and that was really all? Go ahead, sorry.
it does that thing like when you attack, if you press like a button you time it at the right time, you'll do like double damage. You can also do when an enemy's attacking you, you press a button right before they attack you and you'll like negate half the damage, which keeps you engaged in the turn-based combat as well. So I love the combat system. It's so great. Music's great, the visual's great, and the story is like, I don't know. I would say if you enjoy optional content that drastically changes the overall narrative,
I'm all about
this
that.
game is
You think
for
you're the good
you.
guys? Do you? Are
But
you? Are we the bad
Anyway, if you haven't played it, Seas of Stars is amazing.
guys? Yeah. Special shout out to Super Mario RPG, which also came out this year and which
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun with. But number 2, probably not a surprise to many, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. Oh man, I love this game. I have always loved Armored Core games, going back to the original on the PlayStation, Project Phantasma, all of that.
Silent Line.
Yeah, dog.
Or to Another Age.
Yeah. I do confess that I got out of them for a while. I didn't play any of them on like PS3. I think there were
You
2.
play 4 or 4 Answer.
When you started being able to fly around, like that wasn't, you could always have jump.
They're
jacks,
all
but-
good games. Don't listen to the haters. They're all good.
It's Armored Core, and it's made by this company that you may have heard of, From Software. They have okay video games. They have a genre of games named after their best series. And published by Bandai Namco. We'll give them some credit. Good for them. Man, this game, what do you want? You like mechs? It's got mechs, okay? It's got mechs. You want to build a mech? Like, and have input on like every part of it, the legs, the boosters, the arms, tons of variety, you got it. And you get to take this awesome mech that you just built into a freaking post-apocalyptic city. Well, more than apocalypse in Fires of Rubicon, but like these huge environments, like full-on cities that feel like you're kind of going through cities or big fortresses and dams and this incredible environments. And your traversal can be, tank treads, so you're just chugging along real slow and fat and, you're a tank, literally. Or you can have 2 legs and be flying around like, literally a plane, basically. And just, your weight is so under control that you can keep your energy will support you basically as long as you want. More verticality than I've seen in any other Armored Core game, which you hear me talk about a lot because I like having 3 dimensions. The customization system, as I mentioned, is really a highlight. The graphics, like FromSoft knows what they're doing. How many times are we going to say the word Elden Ring, or the title Elden Ring in a video about this year, but that quality of graphics set in a very different environment. Everything looks gorgeous. Missiles, plasma weapons, like the boss battles, holy moly, like they're tough. Like you've probably heard, it's a meme, I think, but like the first boss is really hard and it's going to take you a while to get past it. That's a FromSoft thing.
Yeah,
like you have to learn how
Margit
to play
is hard
the game.
too.
Yeah, right. Godric or Soldier of Godric is hard, right? In Elden Ring, first guy. Anyway, I'll put him up.
Oh,
You have to
I know what you're talking
yeah, when you're in the little tutorial cave.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marty's tough. But yeah, like, you have to know how to use the skills and make wise decisions with your weapons, which doesn't always mean using the shotguns. Like, I know everybody just uses the shotguns, but you don't have to be that guy. Don't do that. Like, have a chain gun and like a cool rifle or something. You know, it's fun. Missile launchers on your backs. You'll be great. 4 legs. What do you use? Bipedal or 4 legs? 4 legs every time.
Is great. Yeah. What I love about this game is that From Software was willing to make it. You know what I mean?
Heck
This is not their
big selling
at
series,
all.
yeah.
It is literally a continuation.
How easy would it be for them just to put out a bunch of Souls?
I know.
You know?
But this is a continuation. I'm glad that they called it Armored Core 6.
Yes.
I'm glad it's not a reboot. I'm glad that it is an Armored Core game, you know? Like, not every game has to be third-person action RPG. You
Right.
know? There are room for action games. You know, this is This is an action game.
Yep.
It does have a strong, like, the mech building component is a huge part of it, but it's not an RPG.
No.
You know?
Nope.
It is an action game. And, like, I feel like
currency.
all of our action games have become RPGs.
Yeah.
We'll see what number one game
What's
is
number
gonna
one?
But I think it's really cool of Bandai Namco to be like okay with it, and
physical copies and everything.
From Software to be like, this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
And
they've earned that.
They did it, and it's great. You know, it's not the same thing that they've been doing. It's a different game.
It is.
But they're amazing at whatever they try and do. Like, back on, you know, PS2 and PS3 and 360, they had a wide variety of games that they, like...
nowadays, like, there's 4
Like,
genres.
Lost Kingdoms was like a card-based action RPG, you know, for
Great
GameCube.
freaking reference.
Yeah. They made all kinds of games. They don't... I'm just saying, I'm glad that they're not just making Souls-likes.
Agreed.
That being said, where is Shadow of the Erd?
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen a trailer by now, please. I just need a little bit,
But
man.
hats off for Armored Core 6.
So yeah, Armored Core 6 is fantastic. It's an action game without the RPG. I wonder what's number 1. Neil, help us out.
It's an action game with some minor RPG elements. It's Final Fantasy 16.
Probably, Square Enix is probably the only company that I would say I like better than From Software for my RPG games.
Yeah.
So
Final Fantasy 16 is really great.
Yes.
I am a
Great to
huge
see.
fan
Great
of
to
it. I think it is the best Final Fantasy since 12. Because 12 is amazing. Now, don't get me wrong. I loved 15. Loved 15.
15's an amazing game, and all the haters can just shove it
I've
in.
played
Boys being boys out in the desert in a car. That's where it's at.
I've played plenty of 14. I like 13 and 13-2 and Lightning Returns. I played all of those games and enjoyed them. 13 in particular, I think, is underrated. The music in 13 and like once you get like 40 hours into that game, it gets really good. No, for real, it does. And then I guess I really like, I mean, I said 12. 12 is probably my favorite, like, modern one. Obviously, 7 is probably my favorite overall.
Okay.
But anyway, 16. It's very different. So, came out June 22nd, 2023. This is from Square Enix and Creative Business Unit 3. I love that name for a
Yeah,
game
that's such
studio.
a cool name for.
But they're responsible for Final Fantasy 14, which is a great game, but I'm mostly a single player, gamer. But they have Ryota Suzuki as the battle designer in this game, who was worked on
Devil
May Cry series.
Yeah.
Devil May Cry 5, probably the pinnacle of like action game.
Ooh, dropping the gauntlet.
I mean, that game's amazing. I love Devil May Cry 5. I think it's better than 3. I know a lot of people.
Where do you put DMC?
I like DMC quite a bit.
I like DMC
Yeah,
too.
it's really
Haters?
good. But it's not as good as 3, 4, or 5, or maybe 1. I think it's probably better than 2, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but I don't
We
hate.
used to play
I
that,
don't hate 2, but do you remember when we like rented 2
Yeah,
and beat it like in like one night?
Yeah, dude.
We're not talking about Devil May Cry 2. We're talking about Final Fantasy 16. So, this has a much more action. It's a Devil May Cry game combat system in a Final Fantasy
That's sick.
world.
That's a cool combo.
It is.
When I first heard about it, when he told me about it, I was like, no. Like, I like a little turn-based to my combat.
But it's so Final Fantasy. You know, like you have, first of all, the music's great. Masayoshi Soken, also the composer for Final Fantasy XIV, has done amazing work on 14, does amazing work on 16. But like, this game is so Final Fantasy in its narrative, you know, because it's all about the crystals, and it's all about the icons. You know, you have Clive Rossfield, the main character. They have these. They're called dominants. They're like people that sort of transform into
almost like an Esper.
The summons, so he's Ifrit. You know, you have Joshua as Phoenix, his brother. You have Jill as Shiva.
Super cool, man.
Sid is Rama. You have Prince Dion as Bahamut, Hugo as Titan, Benedicta as Garuda, and Barnabas as Odin. Woo. And if you've been playing like Final Fantasy games for a long time, the designs of all of the icons are like gonna blow you away. They look so cool. Like just Ifrit
and used in combat
amazing.
Of a Devil May Cry game. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Dude, and like it is so epic. Like some of the fights are, you have it's just think of like Final Fantasy is pretty epic. And its score is very epic. And then you put in like that Devil May Cry kind of combat, and it's amazing at times, like the Titan fight. Anyone out there who's played it, the Titan fight is so good. It's like it's where it really embraces the Devil May Cry. The music is like metal, it's so, it just gets your blood pumping. And
I like a game that'll get me blood pumping.
Yeah, it's super fun. And like, this game is hard. Like, it's not hard, but if you want to do all the optional stuff, they have these...
oh man, optional things in Final Fantasy can be hard.
Yeah, there's things where you have to use, you're limited to one icon. So like, as you progress through the game, you start with like your Ifrit, I guess you start with Phoenix, you get Ifrit powers, and then as you're like going through the game, you get all these other powers from these other icons. There is a lot of challenge if you're looking for the challenge, and it's a really deep combat system.
Nice.
And the narrative's really good. I think they did. You
gotta love a good Final Fantasy story.
Clive Rossfield is awesome. Joshua is awesome. Sid is so good in this game.
Sid's always great.
Yeah. So anyway, I think 80 some hours into this game.
How many hours do you think you have in Final Fantasy games? Your whole life. I'm thinking of like all the 199.
So I put like 85 hours into this game. You know what game is probably the most played on my PlayStation this year?
Tell me.
It's Hogwarts Legacy. That's not just because of me though. Although I put a lot of hours in it, my wife and my daughter.
We forgot to mention the combat in that is pretty cool with the wand.
It is, and the animations are really great.
Yeah,
but back to Final Fantasy, like if you're a fan of Final Fantasy games, like old ones, and haven't played this, you should play it. And if you're a fan of Devil May Cry or God of War or Ninja Gaiden,
come on,
you should play that. Or Darksiders. You should play this game. It's super fun.
Just play this game.
It's really easy to just pick up and start comboing. It's super fun.
Heck yeah.
But anyway,
what are you looking forward to in 2024 besides the Elden Ring expansion, which is what I'm looking forward to?
The Final Fantasy VII. The second part, whatever it's called. Re-something. That's 100% what I'm most looking forward to.
Nice.
I'm a fan of Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. But no, it is really good.
I remember I watched you play Final Fantasy Tactics like all the way through.
That's a really good game.
It's a fantastic game. I've been thinking about. Anyway, we should probably wrap this up, man. Great games in 2023. Looking forward to seeing what 2024 brings us. What are we going to review first? Well, guess we'll find out. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, everybody. Thanks for watching Tweed Up. Peace out.
Peace.